Okay, welcome everyone. This is your teacher Julian Marin, and today we're going to review Martes de Prueba number 7 for the 9th grade on the year 2025. So let's start presenting so we can focus on the nature of the exercise, what kind of exercise we're going to solve today. Okay. And very quickly, we can identify that over here, mainly is a reading comprehension exercise. More than that, it's a critical reading exercise. So over here, we're going to have to put into practice some skimming and scanning abilities. Let's remember that scanning focuses on explicit information that could be visualized and read in a text, and implicitly information will be evaluated through the skimming ability. Okay, so in the exercise, we're going to start um finding evidence of these aspects. Okay, so let's start. Very good. Over here, we have to the left, we have the text, and to the right, we have the different questions and possible answers. Okay, so let's see how we can. We're going to start by reading the whole text, and then we're going to evaluate each one of the questions and possible answers, going back to the text if necessary. Let's see. Online education is more effective and has been increasing in recent years. On the one hand, e-learning courses have become hugely popular by the simple virtue of being so much more convenient than traditional face-to-face courses. Students can fit them around their existing responsibilities and commitments and can engage with multimedia content and learning materials at whatever time is convenient for them. Even better, they don't have to travel anywhere to study. They simply log in to the virtual campus from the comfort of their home or offices. Besides, it's cheaper. Cost can often be a prohibitive factor in why individual students don't enroll in courses they're interested in. This is also an issue for corporations who wish to encourage their employees to undergo further training but don't have much of a budget for conferences and training courses. In addition to the convenience and the cost, a large number of students are turning to online learning courses because they have become a better way to learn. Those students who are serious about improving their understanding, learning new skills, and gaining valuable qualifications are keen to enroll in the type of course that will be the most effective. Very good. So with that, we finish the reading, and now we're going to start focusing on the questions. Question 21. What kind of suitable title? What can be a suitable title for the above text? So we got the options A, B, C, and D. So this, you can identify at this point that this is a very demanding exercise. Let's remember that these exercises, they go increasingly becoming more and more difficult in order to confirm the level of the test takers, right? So one indicator of that, for instance, is that we have 4 options instead of 3. That, of course, the number of possibilities will increase the level of difficulty. And then also, by identifying the type of questions, we will know if we're talking which of them will be skimming and which of them will be scanning. Understanding that definitely implicit information is more difficult to to identify than that is explicit. So over here we have four different possible um, titles. A, risks and benefits of virtual education. In the text, they don't mention any risks. B, reasons why e-learning is effective. That's a good possibility. C, modern e-education and its low value. Over here, when they talk about value, it's not very clear if talking about expenses or the value of the education. So it's not very clear. C. And D, learning online, a better teaching process. So over here, I believe that B and D would be the possible correct or most appropriate answers, let's say. But I will go definitely with B because they're talking about why it is more effective in many different aspects, not exclusively on the teaching. As a matter of fact, they don't mention too much the teaching process, but more like the learning. So that is why I would go with B. Let's move on. Yes, we need to move. We need to scroll down a little bit for question 22. Okay, so over here we got the question. It can be inferred that the e-learning or that e-learning was designed aiming to. So what was the objective of this teaching environment? So A, make the learning make the learning experience easier for students. B, contribute to the economic growth of institutions. C, prepare students to assume future remote jobs. D, sponsor low income students who want to study. So over here we find four answers that seem to be logical, and this is where your critical reading needs to be put into practice, because remember, critical reading is understanding the text and answer all the questions based on the information that is provided by the text, not by your personal experience, not by your points of view, not by your knowledge, not even by your common sense. So over here, I will suggest that the correct answer is A, because even though the other options seem to be logical, right, and coherent, it is A, the one that contains information that has been discussed in the text. Okay, so that would be 21, answer B, 22, answer A. So let's move on to question 23. Over here, we can stop here. We can see 23 and 24. For 23, taking into account the way the information is organized in the above text, it is possible to infer that the text is, over here we have four options. We have expositive, descriptive, or B, narrative, C, descriptive, or D, argumentative. So over here, first of all, we're going to select the correct one because this is a tricky question. It means you need to have knowledge of the differences of what is the type of text or the organization, right? So let's remember that expositive essentially or an expository text explain and informs, just give information, doesn't make suggestions. And over here, I will suggest that it's an argumentative text because not only is giving facts, but it's providing arguments and suggesting that something is positive or negative, right? So over here, that would be the one. So expositive or expository is not because it goes further. Narrative. Okay, let's remember when we're talking about narrative, we're telling a story, and this is not a story. It's not a story, not like an event that happened to someone, so we can cancel B. And C, descriptive, is one of those texts in which um, it is like the information is presented in order to activate the different sensorial um, characteristics of the person. So working more like with the senses, right? Picture helping people picture in their minds events or situations that will be connected to their senses. So that's why I suggest answer D for 23. This is a very tricky one because not only you need to understand the test, but you need to have further knowledge or linguistic knowledge of how texts are um, made, right? And the intention in it. So let's continue with 24. Even though e-learning has proved to be much cheaper than traditional education, what economic non-explicit cost does the learner have to assume? Now, even though this is not mentioned explicitly in the text, over here we need to put into practice our skimming abilities. Okay, and yes, a little bit of common sense because we have four options. Okay, now it says non-explicit cost, talking about economic costs that the learner have to assume, okay, and in an e-learning context. That is the information we need to know. So, transportation, no, because it is the opposite. This is one of the benefits of e-learning. The person doesn't have to leave their home or their office. That was mentioned. Connectivity, that is a good option. Housing, no, because it's quite the opposite. The person doesn't need to go looking for a new place to live, or, for instance, the students who need to enroll programs that they don't have in their hometown. So they have to travel and live and find housing in different cities. And D, satellite TV, that is not mentioned and that has essentially nothing to do because e-learning courses are based on platforms that are like connected. I mean, you just need to have access to the internet, not only like that kind of satellite TV technology. So that is why I will suggest connectivity would be the correct answer for 24. And now we're getting closer to finishing the exercise by answering question 25. Let's evaluate. According to the typology of this article, it is possible to determine that the main characteristic of the text is the predominant use of chronological facts. They don't mention chronological facts. No dates, not really. B, of ethical appeals. Not really. They're not evaluating uh, topics about legal stuff or procedures within the educational institutions, um, proper ways of enrolling. No, I will cancel B2. C, mm, predominant use of verifiable data. Okay, even though when they mention data, sometimes comes to our head numbers, dates. Of course, this qualitative information is also considered, of course, data. There are essentially two types of data, qualitative and quantitative. So that will be a tricky one, but in fact, I will suggest C to be the correct answer. And why not D? Because it mentions emotional appeal. So over here, we're talking about practical matters, not emotional matters. So that is why I will cancel also the possibility to have D as the correct answer. So with this, we come into the end of this Martes de Prueba number 7 review for ninth grade in the year 2025. I hope you have found it interesting. Definitely, this is a tricky exercise. Let's remember that Martes de Prueba, Saber Pro, Saber ICFES, or Saber Once will present different levels of difficulty in their exercises. So let's better be ready for that. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being here. Let me just suggest one last thing. Please click on like, subscribe to the channel, and promote so other people might be benefit from these reflections. Thank you very much. Until next time.